Hey y'all, what's up? Scarecrow. Yeah, I thought we explore different things since it's coming up with Aries squaring Pluto, squaring Pluto. Um, Hidden things, different cultures, um, beliefs, stuff like that. How they coincide with our own and forgotten things that were taken from us. Just exploring different stuff. So this one is about the jinns, the good and bad, the good or bad, however you feel about it. If you're interested, watch. If you don't, click off. So I'm here to enlighten you, aha moment, um, confirmation, participate, or just watch. Okay. So this is
in the heart of the ancient world.
Revealing the jinns, the complete history of Arab's oldest secret. Okay. When I told y'all when I got on YouTube, I researched a whole lot of stuff, the things that I heard of when I was young, experienced some things, and just want to know what different cultures were doing. So this is what it's all about. All right, so we're gonna watch this, and then I have one with the preppers. Okay, I've been talking about them. Okay, so enjoy.
Sprawled across a peninsula of searing heat and endless sand lies a land of stark, breathtaking beauty. This is Arabia, a realm of extremes where life clings precariously to the edges of oases and the shadows of mountains. For millennia, its people, the Bedouin tribes, navigated this unforgiving world with a resilience born of necessity. They understood the rhythms of the sun, the whispers of the wind, and the life-giving promise of a distant well. But they also understood that they were not alone. They believed that in the shimmering heat haze, in the hollows of desolate ruins, and in the deep, eerie silence of the night, another creation lived alongside them, unseen. These were not gods, nor were they men. They were the jinn. Long before the great monotheistic faiths swept across the peninsula, this belief was woven into the very fabric of Arabian life. The jinn were not mere ghosts, not the lingering spirits of the dead. They were a parallel race, believed to have tangible bodies,
and I Dream of Genie, Aladdin,
much like human society. They were seen as the animistic soul of the landscape itself, forces of nature given form and will. The howl of the wind through a narrow canyon was not just a trick of acoustics, it was a voice. A sudden, spiraling dust devil was not merely weather, it was a jinn passing by. They were the explanation for the inexplicable, the sudden illness that strikes a healthy man, the maddening whisper that torments a lone traveller, the misfortune that befalls a journey without cause. In a world governed by powers both seen and unseen, the jinn were the ever-present, invisible reality that could shape the fortunes of the living. The relationship with these beings was as complex and shifting as the sands themselves. It was a life lived in a state of constant awareness, marked by a deep, instinctual fear, but also by a curious degree of reverence. The jinn were capricious, some were seen as benign, even helpful, while others were malevolent tricksters. To survive, one had to know the rules, to understand the rituals necessary for coexistence. Travelers learned to utter charms for protection, and it was common practice to ask for permission, to say "destur" before entering a dark or abandoned place. These were not fairy tales told to frighten children. They were practical measures for navigating a world teeming with hidden powers. They were a fundamental part of the pre-Islamic cosmology, invisible neighbors whose presence demanded caution, respect, and a delicate, ongoing diplomacy. Our story begins here, in this primal landscape, where we will explore who these beings were in the oral traditions and poetry of the tribes, how they were understood as powerful shapeshifters who walked the line between the animal and human worlds, and how they inspired both terror and art. From there, we will witness their extraordinary transformation. With the advent of Islam in the 7th century, the belief in jinn was not abolished. Instead, it was absorbed, recontextualized, and redefined within a strict monotheistic framework. No longer just amoral nature spirits, the jinn were elevated into a formal scriptural reality, becoming one of God's 3 intelligent creations, alongside angels and human beings. We will delve into the sacred texts of the Quran and the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad to understand how these beings were given new purpose, a new moral dimension, and ultimate accountability for their actions. We will meet their most famous and fearsome classifications, the mighty Ifrit, the rebellious Marid, and the flesh-eating Ghoul, and uncover the stories that gave them their power. Finally, we will follow their trail as it winds through centuries of human history. From the high theology of Islamic scholars and the fantastic tales of the Arabian Nights, to the enduring folk practices and the modern cinema screen, we will trace the astonishing resilience of this belief. It is a story of myth, faith, and the enduring human fascination with the unseen. It is the story of a presence that has haunted the human imagination for millennia, a creature of smokeless fire who continues to fascinate, frighten, and hold a mirror to our own world. To the people of pre-Islamic Arabia, the jinn were creatures of immense and terrifying power, primarily because they were masters of transformation. They were the ultimate shapeshifters, their forms as fluid and unpredictable as the desert itself. Though normally invisible, they were not incorporeal. Ancient sources held that jinn possessed tangible bodies, known as ajsam, and that they could choose to manifest in the physical world in a bewildering variety of forms. This ability made them a constant and unsettling presence. The animal that crossed your path, the stranger you met at a well, the snake that took shelter in the cool of your home, any of them could be a jinn in disguise. Their preferred forms were often those of animals, especially creatures with a chthonic reputation, beings connected to the earth and the underworld. Snakes were a particular favourite. In the ancient Near East, the snake was a deeply ambiguous symbol, representing at once healing and danger, wisdom and deceit. A snake found in one's house was therefore treated with extreme caution. It was common practice to grant it a grace period of 3 days, a formal warning to depart. If it remained after that time, it was presumed to be an ordinary animal, or perhaps an evil jinn, and could be killed. But to harm one without this warning was to risk a terrible, swift retaliation from its kin. Other forms were also common: the scorpion, the lizard, the dog, all creatures of the dust and the dark places. When a jinn chose to take on a human form, the transformation was rarely perfect. The old stories are filled with cautionary tales of men and women who interacted with a seemingly normal person, only to notice a single telltale sign of their true, otherworldly nature. Perhaps it was the unsettling vertical slit of their pupils, like those of a cat or a snake, or a brief glimpse of a foot that was not a foot at all, but the cloven hoof of a goat. It might be a voice that held an unnatural echo, or a strength that defied human limits. These subtle imperfections were the cracks in their disguise, a chilling reminder that the person you were speaking to was something other, something ancient and powerful, merely wearing a human mask. This physical nature meant that the jinn were not invincible. Though more powerful than humans, they could be harmed and they could be killed. Oral traditions were rich with the stories of lone heroes and brave travellers who managed to slay a jinn in combat. If killed, the creature's body would not simply vanish. It would leave behind a strange carcass, a final clue to its true nature. Sometimes it was the body of a great snake or a monstrous scorpion, a physical confirmation that the battle had been won against a creature from another realm. Perhaps most remarkably, the pre-Islamic Arabs did not see the jinn as a chaotic, disorganized horde of monsters. They imagined them as a parallel society, a mirror to their own complex tribal world. Commentators like the later scholar Al-Yahiz noted that the pagan Arabs believed jinn organized themselves into tribes and clans, complete with lineages, chieftains, and political rivalries, just like the Bedouin. Disbelief gave the jinn a social and political dimension. An offense against a single jinn was not just an offense against an individual. It was a potential spark for a blood feud with an entire invisible tribe. This complex understanding of their forms, their society, and their very real physical presence created a world where the boundary between the natural and the supernatural was dangerously thin and constantly shifting. But what, precisely, were these beings? Scholars have long debated the origins of the jinn concept in Arabia. Some propose that they began simply as mischievous and often dangerous nature spirits, the personification of the perils of the wilderness. In this view, they were the animistic soul of the places humans feared, the searing wind, the crushing silence of a ruin, the darkness of a cave. They were a way to give a name and a face to the impersonal dangers of the natural world, transforming random misfortune into the malevolent act of an unseen agent. They were often seen as dwelling in unclean or remote areas, hostile to the intrusion of humanity. Others have suggested a more complex origin, arguing that the jinn were originally the pagan deities and tutelary gods of local tribes. According to this theory, as the great high gods of the wider pantheon grew in importance, these smaller local deities were gradually downgraded in status. They didn't disappear from belief, but they were demoted from gods to be worshipped into spirits to be placated. In certain northern Arabian regions, like the ancient cities of Palmyra and Baalbek, the line between the two was blurry. Inscriptions show that the term jinn, or its local equivalent, sometimes overlapped with the word ilah, meaning God, indicating that these beings were at times regarded as minor divinities. The 19th century historian Julius Wellhausen offered a brilliant insight into this distinction. He noted that the pre-Islamic Arabs distinguished gods from jinn, not by their morality. Jinn were not necessarily evil, but by the manner in which they were worshipped. The major gods like Hubal or Al-Lat had public cults. They had temples, idols, and formal communal ceremonies. The jinn, on the other hand, were venerated privately. Their cults were personal, intimate, and often secret. An individual might leave an offering for a jinn at a particular rock or tree, seeking its favour or protection, but this was a personal act, not a public ritual. This suggests that belief in the jinn ran parallel to the more formal idol worship of the tribes. It was a deeper, more ancient layer of animistic belief, a kind of folk religion that dealt with the immediate, everyday concerns of life. When a person needed help with a matter the high gods might not handle, like finding a lost camel or cursing an enemy, they might turn to the local spirits. While the pre-Islamic Arabs did recognize a difference between these beings and the great divine powers, the lines could blur. Some jinn were seen as benevolent protectors of a specific tribe or a locale, not unlike the guardian angels of later traditions or the household gods of the Greeks. But the default stance was always one of caution. Even a friendly jinn was unpredictable, its moods as shifting as the desert wind. This complex identity, somewhere between a spirit, a demon, and a forgotten god, is what made the jinn such a powerful and enduring force in the pre-Islamic imagination. The relationship between the pre-Islamic Arabs and the jinn was therefore a delicate and often terrifying balancing act. It was a life lived with a constant awareness of these powerful, invisible neighbours, a life that required a complex set of rituals and precautions to maintain a fragile peace. The default emotion was fear, but it was a fear tempered with a degree of reverence. The jinn were capricious, their actions unpredictable. Some were seen as helpful, even kind, while others were malevolent tricksters, and one could never be certain which kind one was dealing with. To avoid incurring their wrath, people developed a rich tapestry of folk practices. Offerings and sacrifices were reportedly left at certain powerful sites. A strangely shaped rock, an ancient solitary tree in the desert, a dark cave, all in an effort to placate the local jinn who were believed to inhabit them. These were not the grand public sacrifices offered to the high gods, but small personal gifts meant to earn the favour, or at least the neutrality, of the spirit whose territory one was entering. The goal was to show respect, to acknowledge the jinn's power, and to hopefully be left alone. Travellers were particularly vulnerable. A person moving through the desolate and lonely places of the world was entering the very heart of the jinn's domain. To protect themselves, they would utter charms or hang talismans, small objects believed to have the power to ward off evil spirits, often called shayan or devils. A traveller finding himself alone at night, far from the safety of a caravan, might draw a circle in the sand around him and recite a quick prayer or incantation. This circle was a magical barrier, a temporary sanctuary that evil jinn were believed to be unable to cross. These were not idle superstitions. They were essential survival tools for navigating a world filled with unseen dangers. Certain locations were understood to be haunts of the jinn, places of concentrated supernatural power that required extreme caution. Lonely caves, ancient tombs, or a solitary tree in the vast emptiness of the desert were all considered to be potent real estate in the jinn world. To approach them was to risk trespassing, and to do so without the proper respect was to invite disaster. It is this belief that gave rise to one of the most enduring folk practices, the polite warning. It was common for Arabs to say, "Destura," permission, or other similar phrases when throwing wastewater, especially at night, or when entering a dark and potentially jinn-inhabited place. This was a simple courtesy, a way of announcing one's presence to any unseen spirits, ensuring one did not accidentally harm or disrespect them. The jinn were also held responsible for a wide range of human afflictions. Sudden illnesses, especially those with no visible cause, were often attributed to the touch of a jinn. Mental illness, in particular, was seen as a sign of their influence. A person suffering from madness was said to be majnan, a word whose very root is jinn, literally meaning jinn afflicted. This deep linguistic connection reveals just how intertwined these spirits were with the understanding of the human mind and body. The jinn were not just a remote, abstract threat. They were a direct and personal danger that could invade one's home, one's body, and one's very sanity. These folk practices, these small daily acts of caution and respect, show how deeply the belief in jinn is embedded in the pre-Islamic worldview, a constant and powerful presence that shapes the rhythms of daily life. But not all interactions with the jinn were born of fear. The folklore of ancient Arabia is also rich with tales of a different kind of relationship, one of inspiration, friendship, and even love. One legend, for example, tells of a jinn named Manzir who fell in love with a mortal woman named Haba. He did not seek to harm her, but instead taught her the arts of healing as a sign of his affection. Such stories presented the jinn as being capable of the full range of human-like emotions, from petty jealousy and rage to profound love and loyalty. Nowhere was this intimate connection more apparent than in the world of Arab poetry and soothsaying. It was a widely and deeply held belief that every great poet had a personal jinn, a special companion spirit, sometimes called a Koran, who served as their supernatural muse. This spirit would whisper verses to the poet from beyond the human world, granting them a fluency and a power with words that seemed more than mortal. Poets themselves would sometimes acknowledge this otherworldly source of their genius. The renowned pre-Islamic poet Al-Arsha, for instance, referred to a companion named Mishal as his jinn brother, the direct source of his poetic inspiration. To have a powerful jinn muse was a mark of honor, a sign that a poet's words were not just clever, but were touched by the magic of the unseen world. This connection was not always a blessing. The story of another famous pre-Islamic poet, Thabit bin Jabir, nicknamed Ta'alata Sharan, meaning he who packed evil in his luggage, is a testament to the darker side of this relationship. He famously boasted in his poetry of encountering and slaying a female ghoul, a fearsome type of jinn, in the desert. These anecdotes, woven into the very fabric of their oral tradition, illustrate just how deeply the jinn were a part of the cultural and artistic life of the tribes. Poets took pride in these otherworldly connections, framing their creative genius as a gift, or sometimes a curse, from the realms of the jinn. This belief in jinn as keepers of hidden knowledge extended to the figure of the soothsayer, or kahin. In pre-Islamic society, the kahins were powerful and respected figures. People would consult them for arbitration in disputes, for prophecies about the future, and for their connection to the unseen world. It was believed that the kahin's power came directly from a jinn who would possess him or speak through him. The kahin would enter a trance-like state and then deliver rhyming, often cryptic oracles, supposedly channeling the hidden knowledge of his spirit companion. Thus, the jinn were seen as guardians of secrets. They roamed in unseen dimensions, they could travel faster than any human, and they could hear things that mortal ears could not. In later Islamic law, this belief would evolve into the idea that jinn could eavesdrop on the conversations of angels in the heavens, stealing glimpses of divine decrees. But in the pre-Islamic world, their knowledge was more terrestrial, yet no less powerful. They were the key to unlocking the mysteries of the present and the future. And so, we see the pre-Islamic jinn in all its multifaceted complexity. It was at once a feared demon of the lonely places, a source of inspiration for the greatest art of its time, and even an occasional friend or lover to humans. The people of ancient Arabia respected the jinn as a parallel race of beings, their invisible neighbours sharing the same harsh and beautiful world. And from this deep and abiding belief, they developed a rich tapestry of myths, rituals, and practices to deal with them. It was this complex and deeply ingrained worldview that set the stage for how the new faith of Islam would later incorporate, confront, and ultimately transform the concept of the jinn forever. As the 7th century dawned, a new revelation swept out from the heart of Arabia, a spiritual and social force that would not only reshape the political map of the world, but also redraw the very landscape of the unseen. With the advent of Islam, the ancient, deeply rooted belief in the jinn was not abolished, not dismissed as a pagan superstition to be forgotten. Instead, it was confronted, absorbed, and fundamentally redefined within a strict, coherent, monotheistic framework. The wild, immoral spirits of the desert were about to be given a place in a grand cosmic drama, complete with a divine purpose, a moral compass, and the promise of eternal judgment. The jinn were being brought into the light of a new theology. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, speaks of the jinn frequently, not as a strange new concept to be explained, but as a simple, accepted reality, assuming its audience is already intimately familiar with these beings. In Islamic theology, they are affirmed as one of the 3 intelligent creations of God, distinct from both humans and angels. The Quran explicitly states the hierarchy of their creation. Humans were made from clay, and angels, according to later traditions, were made from pure light. But the jinn, the scripture says, we created before from a smokeless fire. This poetic phrase, marij min nar, describes a substance of pure, scorching heat, a subtle fire without the earthly impurity of smoke. This fiery nature is the very essence of their being. It is the source of their power, their passion, and their unique place in the cosmos, a state between the material form of humanity and the ethereal form of angels. This shared status as intelligent creations brought with it a profound and revolutionary new purpose. The pre-Islamic jinn were forces of nature. their actions as meaningless as a storm or an earthquake. But Islam gave them a reason to exist. In a pivotal verse, the Quran declares, "And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me." For the first time, the jinn were placed on the same spiritual plane as human beings. They were moral, sentient beings, endowed with free will, the ability to choose between obedience and rebellion, between faith and disbelief. They would be held accountable for their choices on the Day of Judgment, destined for the same paradise or the same punishment as their human counterparts. Islam had elevated the jinn from a shadowy folk belief into an integral part of its cosmology. This new moral dimension is most vividly illustrated in the Quranic chapter named after them, Surah al-Jinn. The chapter recounts the story of a group of jinn who, while travelling, happened to overhear the Prophet Muhammad reciting the Quran. They were so moved by the beauty and truth of its message that they immediately embraced Islam. They returned to their own kind, not as simple spirits, but as missionaries declaring, "Among us are those who are righteous and those who are otherwise. We have become of various parts." The Quran presents them as moral agents, stating, "Among us some are obedient and some are unjust." This narrative was transformative. It meant the jinn were no longer a monolithic force to be feared. They were now a diverse community, divided, just like humans, into believers and disbelievers, the pious and the wicked. The Prophet Muhammad was not just a messenger to humanity, he was a messenger to all beings with free will, both mankind and jinn-kind. While Islam confirmed the existence of the jinn, it simultaneously launched a direct and uncompromising assault on the pre-Islamic practices surrounding them. The old ways of seeking refuge with them, of offering them sacrifices, of fearing them as one would a god, were condemned in the harshest possible terms. This was a form of shirk or idolatry, the greatest sin in Islam. The Quran describes how the jinn themselves were astonished that humans had revered them, saying, "And there were men from mankind who sought refuge in men from the jinn, so they only increased them in burden." This was a clear and total break. The jinn were creatures, not divinities. They were servants of God, just like humans, and held no divine power of their own. To worship them or seek their aid was to turn away from the one true Creator. Yet, even as it corrected the theological errors of the past, Islam allowed many of the folkloric elements about the jinn to carry over seamlessly into its worldview. Their defining characteristics, their ability to be invisible at will, to move with incredible speed, and to assume different shapes, were all accepted as part of their God-given fiery nature. The Quran itself provides a stunning example of their power in the story of the Prophet Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. When Solomon wishes to have the Queen's magnificent throne brought to him before she arrives, a powerful jinn, identified as an Ifrit, boasts that he can transport it in the blink of an eye. This story affirms that jinn possess extraordinary strength and abilities that seem magical to human eyes. However, the Quran is equally clear about their limitations. They are not all-knowing. They have no knowledge of the gaib, the unseen future, which is known only to God. The story of Solomon's death provides a powerful lesson in this regard. The jinn, who had been forced to labour for him, continued their work, unaware that he had died, propped up on his staff. They only realised their master was gone when a small creature gnawed through the staff, and his body finally fell. The message was clear. For all their power, the jinn are as ignorant of the divine plan as any human. In the Islamic worldview, they are basically another race of creatures, living a parallel existence on earth, concealed from normal sight, endowed with free will, capable of both good and evil, and ultimately, like all of creation, subject to the absolute authority of God. While Islamic scripture speaks mostly of jinn in general terms, a rich and terrifying bestiary of different types and classifications developed over the centuries, blending Quranic references with older Arab lore and regional myths. At the top of this dark hierarchy is the figure of Shaitan, or Satan. The Quran makes a crucial theological clarification about his identity. In Arabian and biblical law, it was easy to confuse jinn with fallen angels, but the Quran is explicit. Iblis, the proper name of Satan, was not an angel. It states he was one of the jinn and he violated his Lord's command. This is a pivotal point. Angels in Islam are created from light and have no free will. They cannot disobey God. Jinn, created from fire, can. The story of Iblis is the ultimate example of this choice. When God commanded all the angels and Iblis to bow down to Adam, the first man, Iblis refused out of pride and arrogance. For this single act of defiance, he was cast out and became the great adversary, the tempter whose goal is to mislead both jinn and humans from the righteous path. The term shaitan thus came to mean any malignant, rebellious jinn, a devil who was chosen to follow the path of Iblis. It is not a separate species, but a moral designation for a wicked jinn. Perhaps the most famous type of jinn in storytelling is the Ifrit. The word appears once in the Quran to describe the powerful jinni in Solomon's court, and over time, it came to denote a particularly strong and fearsome class of jinn. In folklore, Ifrits are often portrayed as massive, winged demons, their bodies formed from smoke and fire, sometimes with terrifying, monstrous faces and flaming eyes. They are depicted as living in underground kingdoms or in ancient ruins, organized into their own tribes with kings and chiefs. They are said to be impervious to ordinary weapons and incredibly difficult to kill. The Ifrit's notoriety was cemented by its appearance in the tales of the 1001 Nights. The story of the fisherman and the jinni, for example, features a furious Ifrit who has been trapped in a brass bottle for centuries, a direct echo of the legends of Solomon. They are almost always malevolent, or at the very least, dangerously capricious, a vision of raw, elemental power and ancient, vengeful fury. A term often used interchangeably with the Ifrit is the Marid, which means rebellious in Arabic. A Marid is described as a powerful, arrogant demon, a giant among jinn, known for their immense strength and pride. While the word is hinted at in the Quran in a verse referring to every rebellious devil, its character was truly fleshed out in later folklore. In popular tales, Marids are the classic genies who can be bound to an object, like a lamp or a bottle, and are capable of granting wishes to mortals, though usually at a great and terrible price. They are portrayed as being harder to control than other jinn, due to their proud and rebellious nature. This image of the Marid was heavily influenced by Persian mythology, where the evil deeds were powerful demons subdued by heroes. In Islamic law, the Marid and the Ifrit became the heavyweights of the jinn world, the mightiest and most haughty of their kind. Of all the jinn, none is more infamous for its direct and gruesome connection to humanity than the Ghul, or ghoul. In ancient Arabian folklore, the ghoul was a specific subset of jinn known for haunting graveyards and other deserted places, where it would prey upon unwary travellers. The very word ghul means to seize, and they are depicted as flesh-eating, shape-shifting demons. Pre-Islamic poetry is filled with references to them. The poet Ta'abata Sharan famously boasted of slaying a ghoul in the desert. They often appear as monstrous women, luring lone travellers by taking the form of a beautiful woman, only to reveal their horrific true nature at the last moment to devour their victim. Lore is filled with tales of their telltale signs. One legend says, a ghoul's feet never change shape, so it might still have the hooves of a donkey even when appearing in human form. Islamic tradition held an ambivalent stance on ghouls. The Quran itself never mentions them, and some rationalist scholars denied their existence entirely. Yet, hadiths and folklore kept the belief alive with terrifying vitality. One story from the early caliphate claims that Umar ibn al-Khattab, a companion of the Prophet, encountered a ghoul on a journey to Syria and struck it down with his sword. Another famous tale tells of another companion, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, who caught a ghoul stealing food from his storage. The ghoul, a female jinn, pleaded for her life and, in exchange for her freedom, taught him a protective verse from the Quran to ward off her kind. When he recounted this to the Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet confirmed, "She told the truth, though she is a liar." This fascinating comment suggests that even the most deceptive of jinn can speak the truth when it serves them. Over time, in the Islamic imagination, the ghoul became just another name for a particularly vicious and evil type of jinn, a monstrous predator representing the most frightening and cannibalistic aspect of the unseen world. A close relative of the ghoul in Arabian folklore is the Silah. Early texts sometimes used the terms interchangeably, but later distinctions arose. A Sila is generally described as a witch-like female jinn, a jinniyah who is an expert shapeshifter and a deadly seductress. Unlike ghouls, who might take many forms, the Sila was often said to appear as an enchantingly beautiful woman, luring men into marriage or a dangerous affair, only to eventually betray or kill them. They became a byword for the treacherous femme fatale, a cautionary tale about the dangers of supernatural beauty. Legends claim they could be identified by subtle animal features they could not hide, like cat-like eyes or a forked tongue. There is even an Arabian legend about a tribe called the Banu Silat, who were supposedly the offspring of a union between a human man and a Sila, their children possessing strange hybrid qualities. These tales reflect a deep-seated belief that jinn and humans could, at least in myth, interbreed. The Sila, along with the ghoul, represents the archetypal enchantress and the monstrous feminine in the folklore of the jinn. Of all the figures in Islamic tradition, none is more famously and powerfully associated with the jinn than the Prophet Solomon or Suleiman. Building on Jewish traditions of a king with a magical seal ring that could control demons, the Quran and later Islamic law portray Solomon as a prophet who was granted a unique and miraculous gift by God, dominion over the jinn. The Quran states, "And there were gathered before Solomon his armies of jinn, men and birds." He could understand their languages and command them to do his bidding. This was not a power Solomon achieved through magic. It was a divine authority, a sign of his status as a prophet and a king. The stories of his reign are filled with incredible accounts of the jinn's service. They worked for him as master builders and craftsmen, forging fantastic works in copper and iron. Islamic legend credits them with the construction of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, a feat of impossible engineering accomplished through their supernatural strength. They were his divers, plunging to the bottom of the sea to mine for gems and bring him exotic treasures. They were his messengers, his laborers, his army. The Quran uses Solomon's story in part to show that even the greatest human king ruled only by God's permission, and that such incredible forces could only be harnessed through a divine gift, not through human sorcery. Islamic legend expands greatly on these scriptural hints. A famous tale recounts how Solomon possessed a brass vessel, or many of them, in which he would imprison rebellious jinn, sealing the vessel with the name of God and casting them into the sea. This is the direct origin of the genie in a bottle trope immortalized in the Arabian Nights. This power also extended to the most evil of their kind, the shayatin, the devils. Solomon kept them in check, forcing their power to serve the cause of righteousness. Another legendary episode involves Solomon's encounter with the Queen of Sheba, known as Bilqis. Later folklore gave this story a jinn twist, with rumours that Bilqis herself had jinn lineage, evidenced by supposedly hairy or hoof-like feet. The story demonstrates how even human historical figures could become entangled in the lore of the jinn. But the most profound story is of Solomon's final days. Late in his reign, a shape-shifting jinn is said to have stolen his ring of power and usurped his throne, forcing Solomon into a period of exile until he could recover his kingdom. It is a cautionary tale, a reminder that Solomon's control was a gift that could be withdrawn, and that even the great master of the jinn was not immune to their cunning if God willed it. Solomon's story is the ultimate chapter in the human-jinn relationship, a golden age where these powerful, fiery beings were, for a time, brought under the command of a single, righteous human king, a powerful symbol of divinely ordered control over the chaotic forces of the unseen world. The legacy of Solomon was a story of ultimate control, a golden age where the chaotic power of the jinn was brought to heel by a single, divinely appointed king. But Solomon was a miracle, a singular event in human history. For ordinary people, for the farmers, merchants, and families living in the centuries that followed, the relationship with the jinn was not one of command, but of a precarious and often terrifying coexistence. The jinn were not a distant myth. They were a daily reality, their presence woven into the fabric of home, health, and the hidden landscape of the human mind. The grand cosmic drama of their creation was mirrored in the small, intimate dramas of human interaction, a relationship that ran the full gamut from hostile possession to whispered inspiration, from outright conflict to a strange and secret love. Perhaps the most dramatic and feared of all these interactions is possession, the belief that a jinn can enter and take control of a human body. This is a conviction found in cultures across the globe, but in the Islamic world, it took on a specific and deeply theological dimension. When a person's behavior changed suddenly and inexplicably, when they began speaking in strange voices, exhibiting knowledge they should not have, or displaying a violent aversion to prayer and Holy Scripture, the diagnosis was often demonic possession. The symptoms were a classic sign that a jinni had breached the fortress of the body and was now waging a war for the soul within. The cure for such a spiritual affliction is a practice known as ruqya, a form of exorcism that relies not on magic or occult rituals, but on the pure, unadulterated power of the divine word. In Islamic practice, skilled healers, or raqis, would confront the possessing entity by reciting specific verses from the Quran over the afflicted person. The most powerful of these is Ayat al-Kursi, the verse of the throne, a passage of immense spiritual weight that describes the absolute power and knowledge of God. It was believed that for a malevolent jinn, for a creature of fire and rebellion, hearing these words was an agony, a spiritual fire that would burn and torment them, forcing them to either flee the body or be destroyed. Other powerful verses, like the final 2 chapters of the Quran, known as the Muawwidhatayn, were also used, directly asking God for refuge from the evil of his creation. The exorcism session itself was a dramatic confrontation. The healer might use blessed water, over which Quranic verses had been recited, sprinkling it on the patient. They might use aromatic smoke, like incense, to irritate the jinn and force it out. The possessed person would often react violently, their body convulsing as the jinn within them fought back, sometimes speaking through them, begging, cursing, or trying to bargain with the exorcist. These cases were often interpreted in 2 ways. Either the jinn was maliciously attacking a random victim, or, in a strangely personal twist, it had fallen in love with its human host and was possessing them out of a jealous, otherworldly desire. Importantly, Islam strictly condemns the use of sorcery or seer to deal with jinn, to invoke other jinn for help, to use occult talismans, or to engage in any ritual not sanctioned by scripture was forbidden, a dangerous path that only compounded the evil. The only legitimate weapon was prayer, a direct appeal to God, the one true master of all creation, to command his rebellious creature to submit. Given these potential dangers, a significant part of daily religious life for Muslims was dedicated to protection, to creating a spiritual shield that would ward off the jinn before they could ever cause harm. The most powerful of these measures was the simple but profound act of mentioning God's name. The Prophet Muhammad taught that saying Bismillah, in the name of God, before entering a home, before eating or drinking, and before undressing, created a barrier that jinn could not penetrate. This practice integrated the awareness of the unseen world into the most mundane moments of life. Every closed door, every meal, every moment of privacy was sanctified and protected by this simple invocation. Specific prayers, or dua, were also taught for moments of particular vulnerability. Before entering the bathroom, a place considered ritually impure and thus a potential haunt of jinn, one was taught to seek refuge in God from the male and female devils. Upon entering a home, a prayer was recited that placed the act of entering and leaving under God's protection. Parents would teach these small phrases to their children from a young age, weaving a shield of divine remembrance around their domestic life, a constant, low-level spiritual defense against any lurking, unseen entities. Beyond these daily practices, certain verses of the Quran were regarded as powerful deterrents. The verse of the throne, Ayat al-Kursi, was not just a tool for exorcism, it was the ultimate shield. Many Muslims recite it before sleeping, hang it as calligraphy in their homes, or play recordings of it based on the hadith story of the ghoul, who confessed to a companion that its recitation keeps devils away until dawn. The last 3 chapters of the Quran were likewise recited for protection from all forms of evil, both human and jinn. While orthodox scholars often frowned upon it as bordering on superstition, some people would also carry charms or tau amulets containing these Quranic verses as a form of personal protection. These scriptural defences were often blended with older folk practices, the burning of certain types of incense, the wearing of blue beads to ward off the evil eye, a force often linked to the jinn, or the sprinkling of salt around a new home. The underlying mindset was one of cautious piety, to trust in God, but to take the necessary spiritual precautions to avoid inviting trouble from his more mischievous creations. On the flip side of protection is the belief that jinn can, and do, inflict harm, either in retaliation for an offence or out of sheer malevolence. In many traditional communities, various misfortunes were laid at their feet. A baby crying incessantly might be thought to have been pinched by an unseen jinn. Nightmares were often seen as the work of a jinn playfully or cruelly frightening a person in their sleep. This blame extended to physical accidents. If someone tripped for no apparent reason, a person might say, half-jokingly, a jinn pushed him. The most serious blame, however, was reserved for illness. Sudden sicknesses with strange symptoms were often labelled jinn sickness, prompting a consultation with a spiritual healer to determine if the cause was medical or supernatural. This deep connection to affliction is embedded in the very language of the culture. As we've noted, the Arabic word for a mad person, majnun, literally means jinn-afflicted, a linguistic fossil proving how ancient and fundamental the link is between these spirits and the concept of mental illness. For centuries, what we would now diagnose as a range of psychological conditions was seen as either outright possession or at least an obsession, a state where a jinn constantly whispers madness into a person's mind. While modern medicine has created a clearer distinction for many, in some communities the line remains blurry, a space where spiritual and psychological healing is seen as 2 parts of the same whole. Beyond direct harm to people, jinn are also implicated in hauntings. A house where doors slam, objects move on their own, or strange noises are heard might be believed to have a resident jinn. This is especially true if the house is old, empty, or built on a site with a dark history, aligning with the jinn's known love for ruins and desolate places. This belief would lead people to avoid certain locales at certain times of day, like a well at high noon or a crossroads at midnight, as these were considered liminal times and spaces where jinn were thought to be most active, and the lone human most vulnerable to being harassed or deceived. Surprisingly, folklore is also filled with stories that go beyond simple conflict, stories of romance, marriage, and family between humans and jinn. These tales reveal a belief in jinn as beings physically real enough to form the most intimate of human bonds. Some of these are cautionary tales. A man unknowingly marries an incredibly beautiful woman who is later revealed to be a Sila, or a ghoul in disguise. A monstrous bride who eventually reveals her true, terrifying nature. Other stories are more benign, even romantic. There are Middle Eastern legends of a kindly jinn princess who falls in love with a mortal hero and uses her powers to help him, or of a human woman who marries a male jinn who can appear handsome and human, but must periodically revert to his true, final form. In the lore of some Arab tribes, their very founders were said to have had jinn ancestry. One Yemeni tribe, for example, boasted of its descent from a union between a human man and a jinn mother, and in such legends, the half-jinn offspring are always endowed with extraordinary qualities, like superhuman strength or poetic genius. While these stories are not taken as literal fact, they illustrate a deep cultural conception of jinn as a parallel species, physically compatible with humans. This belief even surfaces in contemporary times. One still hears anecdotes, especially in more traditional societies, of individuals claiming their spouse is a jinn, or of people who believe they have a spirit lover. As we've seen, in exorcism practices, a very common scenario is a jinn who claims to have fallen in love with a person and is possessing them out of jealousy. The healer must then act as a kind of supernatural marriage counselor, trying to persuade or force the jinn to leave his beloved. Islamically, marrying a jinn is not explicitly forbidden, but it is strongly discouraged by scholars for a host of obvious practical and theological reasons. The very fact that such a union was a subject for legal debate, however, shows just how seriously the tangible, physical nature of the jinn was taken. Beyond these accidental or fated encounters, there are those humans who have actively sought out the jinn, not for love, but for power. This veers into the forbidden realm of sorcery, or seer. While Solomon had divine permission to command the jinn, ordinary people, it was believed, could only bind them through illegitimate magic, often involving rituals that were deeply displeasing to God, such as performing blasphemous acts or making animal sacrifices in the name of a jinn king. Historically, magicians and witch doctors in many Muslim communities claimed to be able to control or communicate with jinn. Folk grimoires, notorious medieval Arabic books of magic like the Shams al-Ma'arif, purported to teach the secret rituals needed to summon a jinni and compel it to perform tasks, fetch treasures, or carry out curses. Those who attempt such practices are often believed to pay a heavy price. The jinn, being masters of deceit, might help for a time, but the cautionary tales warn that they will often trick or destroy the sorcerer in the end. This dynamic between the summoner and the exorcist has been a part of the social fabric in many places for centuries. On one side, the dark magician who seeks to harness the jinn's power for worldly gain. On the other, the pious healer who uses the word of God to break the jinn's influence and nullify their magic. This relationship between humans and jinn, however, is not always one of conflict or forbidden pacts. There are also accounts of benevolent jinn helping humans out of kindness or a sense of shared faith. Islamic law makes a clear distinction from Muslim jinn, those who have accepted Islam and follow its teachings. Such jinn would, in theory, view pious humans as their brethren. There are anecdotes, especially in the tales of Sufi saints, of a righteous man lost in the desert being guided to safety by an unseen voice, said to be a Muslim jinn. Some traditional healers claim that good jinn assist them in finding herbal cures, saying, "My jinn guide showed me this plant." These stories underscore the belief that jinn are not all devils, many are neutral or even good, and a human and a jinn could, in theory, have a beneficial relationship, provided it remains within the bounds of Islamic law. Within Sufism, the mystical branch of Islam, the interpretation of jinn takes on a profound symbolic dimension. While Sufi masters and writers fully acknowledge the literal existence of jinn as real creatures, they were not central to their cosmology in the same way as the human relationship with God. Instead, Sufis often use the language of jinn and devils as a powerful metaphor for the inner landscape of the soul. The struggle against one's lower self, the nafs, was often described as fighting the demons within. A sudden thought of greed, of pride, of lust that distracts one from prayer could be seen both as a literal whisper from a shaitan and as a symbolic manifestation of one's own untamed ego. In this mystical framework, Iblis, the great jinn who refused to bow, is sometimes interpreted not just as an external tempter, but as the ultimate symbol of the defiant, arrogant ego that resides in all of us. Parables, like Solomon's subjugation of the jinn, were read as powerful allegories. Solomon, the wise king, represents the enlightened soul, and the jinn and devils he commands are the wild, chaotic passions of the self-anger, desire, pride, which the soul must learn to control and harness, rather than be ruled by them. The struggle against the jinn in the Sufi view was often a projection of the far more important and difficult inner battle, the jihad al-nafs, the war against the self. They are more like a parallel populace that occasionally intersects with the human spiritual journey, but they are not the ultimate source of temptation. The human ego is, nor are they the ultimate spiritual ideal, which is reserved for the prophets and a direct relationship with God. In our modern world, far from the deserts of ancient Arabia, the belief in jinn persists with remarkable tenacity. For devout Muslims, the Quran's word is timeless, and therefore, jinn are as real in the 21st century as they were in the 7th. In many communities, these beliefs continue to actively inform behavior. It is still common for families to recite protective verses daily, or to say Bismillah when pouring hot water outside. In cases of mental illness or other mysterious ailments, many families will concurrently seek a ruqya session alongside modern medical treatment, seeing the two not as contradictory, but as complementary approaches to healing the body and the spirit. The internet has given this ancient belief a new and powerful platform. Videos of real exorcisms circulate widely on social media, and online forums are filled with personal anecdotes of jinn encounters, continuing the oral tradition of storytelling in a digital format. This ancient belief has also made a profound journey into global pop culture, but in the process, it has been utterly transformed. Through the influence of the Arabian Nights, and most powerfully through Western adaptations like Disney's Aladdin, the formidable and dangerous jinni of Islamic law has been largely replaced in the popular imagination by the genie. This figure is often a comical, benign, and obedient servant bound to a lamp and obligated to grant 3 wishes. This is a huge divergence from the independent, morally accountable, and often dangerous being of the original traditions. The blue, jovial genie voiced by Robin Williams has very little in common with a raging ifrit trapped in a bottle, his portrayal emphasizing wish fulfillment and humor rather than spiritual terror. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Western horror has embraced the jinn as a new kind of demon. Films and television shows often depict them as purely malevolent monsters, stripping them of their moral complexity and their capacity for good. Fantasy and gaming have also adopted them, often categorizing them as elemental spirits, fire ifriti, water mariots, earth jam, borrowing the names from medieval classifications, but placing them in a new, non-religious fantasy ecology. Through this process of cultural exchange, the jinn have achieved a global recognition that few mythological creatures can match. But in their journey from the sacred texts of Arabia to the screens of Hollywood, they have shifted once more, becoming a reflection not of an ancient faith, but of our own modern appetite for fantasy, horror, and spectacle. We have journeyed from the sun-scorched sands of pre-Islamic Arabia, where the jinn were the wild, untamed spirits of the earth, to the ordered cosmology of Islam, where they were given a moral purpose and a place in a divine cosmic plan. We have walked through the fantastic courts of the Prophet Solomon, the master of their kind, and listened in on the terrifying fireside tales of ghouls and ifrits that haunted the popular imagination for centuries. From a creature born of desert animism to a theological entity with free will, and finally to a global pop culture icon, the jinn has proven to be one of history's most resilient and adaptable supernatural beings. Its long and winding story is a testament to the power of a belief that has survived the rise and fall of empires, the birth of new religions, and the dawning of a scientific age that sought to banish all such phantoms from the world. What is the secret to this incredible endurance? Perhaps it lies in the jinn's fundamental ambiguity. They are the ultimate liminal creature, existing in the spaces in between. They are neither Holy Spirit nor Holy Flesh. They are not angels, yet they can be pious. They are not devils, yet they can be irredeemably evil. They are not human, yet they mirror our societies, our emotions, our capacity for both faith and rebellion. This refusal to fit neatly into any single category is the key to their survival. They are a vessel, a perfect screen onto which humanity can project its most profound anxieties and its most secret desires. They are the face we give to the random misfortune we cannot explain, the name we give to the dark impulses that rise from within our own minds, and the hope we harbour for a world of magic and possibility that exists just beyond the veil of our senses. In this way, the story of the jinn is more than just a history of a mythological creature. It is a mirror reflecting our own evolving relationship with the unseen. In the pre-Islamic world, they were the embodiment of a chaotic and dangerous nature that had to be placated. In the Islamic world, they became a reflection of humanity's own moral struggle, a parallel race facing the same choices and the same ultimate judgment. And in our modern, secular world, their transformation into the wish-granting genie or the generic horror movie demon reflects our own contemporary relationship with the supernatural, a force to be either commodified for our entertainment or stripped of all nuance to serve a simple, terrifying narrative. In every era, the jinn transforms, not because it is fickle, but because we are. They are the clay, and the human imagination is the sculptor, constantly reshaping them to fit the contours of our own time. The enduring belief in these beings, even in our age of satellites and spreadsheets, speaks to a fundamental and perhaps unquenchable human need. It is the need for a world that is more than just what we can see and measure. The story of the jinn is a testament to the fact that we have always lived in two worlds at once, the solid, predictable world of our daily lives, and a second, more fluid and mysterious world of the spirit. It is this second world that gives us our myths, our art, our religions, and our sense of wonder. The jinn are a powerful reminder that for all our logic and reason, we remain creatures who are haunted by the unseen, who listen for voices on the wind, and who feel a shiver of ancient fear when entering a dark and silent room. They prove that a world completely explained, a world without shadows, may be a world that is ultimately unlivable for the human soul. And so, the creature of smokeless fire endures. Its story, which began in the whispering sands of an ancient desert, is now told in the flickering light of digital screens and echoed in the shared ether of a global culture. It has shape-shifted once more from a local spirit to a global phenomenon, a journey even a mighty Ifrit could scarcely have imagined. The jinn remains a powerful and unsettling presence in the human imagination, a permanent resident in the borderlands between faith and folklore, between the known and the unknowable. And as long as there are empty places in the world, as long as there are unexplained sounds in the night, and as long as there is a part of the human mind that yearns for a reality beyond its own, the jinn will have a home, forever concealed, forever present, a timeless reminder that we are not and have never been truly alone.
You're not alone. Okay, let's see. One more. Before I get started, we got oh.
If you were to ask the average person what they thought a prepper was, they would probably tell. They were.
Picture this. It's 7:42 p.m. You're sitting here.
If you only watch.
Hey everybody, it's Michelle. When you're short on storage space, pick the best walls on the inner part of your home, which happens to be one of the closets in this home here. So there's a nice cool temperature. Too cold, so there's no heat on this side of the house. But it's also a place where if you can spy with your little eye any particular thing that may be something that stores something of value, see if you can tell where it might be, because it is in plain sight, but someone who decides to try and come in your home won't be able to find it.
Your neighbor's pantry is.
Most parents protect their family with life insurance, but forget to protect the actual house their kids grow up in. Imagine your kid.
Your neighbor's pantry is full. Yours probably isn't. And they are never going to tell you why. Right now across America, something quiet is happening inside ordinary households. Regular people, teachers, nurses, construction workers, retirees, are walking into Walmart every single week and buying 15 specific items that never show up in their grocery haul posts, never get mentioned at neighborhood barbecues, and never get talked about at the school pickup line because 60% of American households cannot survive 3 days without a grocery store run. FEMA's own data confirmed that. 3 days. Meanwhile, the people buying these 15 items are building a supply that lasts years. Coffee is up 46%. Beef is up 30%. And according to the latest supply chain reports, the window to act is closing faster than most people realize. The people who understand these numbers are not panicking. They are not posting about it. They are simply walking into Walmart, buying the right things, going home, and saying absolutely nothing to their neighbors. Today that changes. I am going to show you every single item, exactly what it is, exactly where to find it at Walmart, and exactly why informed people are buying it right now while everyone else walks straight past it. Stay until number one, because number one is the item that every single experienced prepper buys first, and it is sitting right there at Walmart for under $2. Let's get into it. Number 15, potassium iodide tablets. This is the item on this list that will make some people uncomfortable. And I want to address that discomfort directly before explaining why experienced preppers quietly buy this at Walmart without telling anyone. Potassium iodide tablets, Ki tablets, protect your thyroid gland from absorbing radioactive iodine in the event of a nuclear facility emergency or radiological event. The thyroid is the only organ in your body that actively absorbs iodine from your bloodstream. In a radiological emergency situation, flooding your thyroid with stable, non-radioactive iodine first prevents it from absorbing the dangerous radioactive version. This is not fringe science. This is official CDC protocol. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission recommends that households within 10 miles of nuclear power plants have potassium iodide on hand. There are currently 93 operating commercial nuclear reactors across the United States. But here is what most people do not realize. In 2022, when Russia escalated military operations in Ukraine, which houses Europe's largest nuclear power plant, potassium iodide sales across the United States spiked 2,000% in a single week. Shelves cleared out in 48 hours. The people who already had it were fine. Everyone else was scrambling for a product that had suddenly disappeared. Walmart carries potassium iodide tablets in the pharmacy section. Most people walk past the pharmacy section without ever looking at what is actually on those shelves. Experienced preppers do not make that mistake. At roughly $12 to $15 for a family supply, this is one of the most important insurance purchases on this entire list, and one of the most ignored. Number 14, Pool Shock, calcium hypochlorite. Here is something that will change how you think about water security forever. Most people know that you can use bleach to purify water in an emergency. What most people do not know is that regular liquid bleach from Walmart, the kind in the laundry aisle, has a shelf life of only 6 to 12 months before its active chlorine content degrades to ineffective levels. After that point, it will not reliably purify water regardless of how much you use. Pool Shock, calcium hypochlorite granules, available in Walmart's outdoor and pool section, is a completely different product that solves this problem permanently. Pool Shock contains 68 to 78% available chlorine in stable granular form. A single 1-pound bag of Pool Shock properly stored in an airtight container maintains full potency for up to 10 years, and here is the math that makes experienced preppers buy this instead of liquid bleach every single time. 1 pound of Pool Shock, costing approximately $5 at Walmart, can purify up to 10,000 gallons of drinking water. 10,000 gallons from a $5 bag that lasts a decade. The preparation is straightforward. 1 teaspoon of Pool Shock dissolved in 2 gallons of water creates a chlorine stock solution. 1 part of that stock solution added to 100 parts of water produces safe drinking water that meets EPA standards. This is the water purification secret that experienced preppers know and almost nobody else does. It is sitting right there at Walmart in the pool supply section, and most people have never connected it to emergency water preparedness. Number 13, Mylar bags. If you are storing food for the long term and you are not using Mylar bags, you are doing it wrong. And I say that with complete confidence because the science is unambiguous on this point. Standard plastic containers, including food-grade buckets, are oxygen permeable. Oxygen molecules are small enough to pass slowly through plastic walls over time. This means that food stored in plastic containers is slowly oxidizing even when the lid is sealed tight. Oxidation is what destroys nutritional content, creates rancidity in fats, and degrades flavor compounds over months and years. Mylar is a specific form of polyester film with an aluminum layer laminated into it. That aluminum layer creates a complete oxygen barrier, zero permeability. Combined with an oxygen absorber sealed inside, which removes any remaining oxygen from the air pocket inside the bag, Mylar creates a genuinely inert storage environment where oxidation cannot occur. The practical difference is enormous. White rice stored in a plastic bucket lasts approximately 5 years before nutritional degradation becomes significant. The same white rice sealed in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber lasts 25 to 30 years with near complete nutritional retention. The food science behind this is fully documented and universally accepted among long-term storage researchers. Walmart carries Mylar bags in various sizes, typically near the canning supplies or kitchen storage section. Experienced preppers buy these consistently and quietly because they understand that how you store food matters as much as what food you store. Number 12, oxygen absorbers. Oxygen absorbers work hand in hand with Mylar bags, and they deserve their own entry on this list because most people who know about Mylar bags do not fully understand why oxygen absorbers are non-negotiable alongside them. Here is what an oxygen absorber actually is. It is a small packet containing iron powder and salt. When exposed to oxygen, these components react and permanently bind to oxygen molecules, removing them from the surrounding environment. A properly rated oxygen absorber placed inside a sealed Mylar bag will reduce the oxygen content inside that bag from the normal atmospheric level of 21% down to essentially zero, below 0.1%, within 24 hours of sealing. At 0% oxygen, three things happen simultaneously that matter enormously for long-term food storage. First, aerobic bacteria and mold cannot survive without oxygen, so biological contamination becomes impossible. Second, insects and larvae that might be present in grain products cannot survive without oxygen, eliminating pest contamination without any chemical treatment. Third, oxidation of fats, vitamins, and flavor compounds stops completely, preserving nutritional content and taste indefinitely. A 2023 study from Utah State University's Food Storage Research Program compared identical white rice samples stored with and without oxygen absorbers over a 10-year period. The samples with oxygen absorbers retained 95% of original nutritional content. The samples without oxygen absorbers retained 60%. Same rice, same Mylar bags. The only variable was the oxygen absorber. Walmart carries these in the canning section, typically near the mason jars and food preservation supplies. A pack of 100 oxygen absorbers costs approximately $8 to $10 and represents one of the highest value purchases on this entire list. Number 11, Crisco shortening. This one surprises people every time, and the reason it surprises them is because Crisco has an image problem. Most people associate it with unhealthy old-fashioned baking and assume it has no place in a modern pantry. That assumption ignores the actual numbers. An unopened can of Crisco shortening has a manufacturer-stated shelf life of 2 years. But here is what the manufacturer does not advertise. Independent food storage testing, conducted by multiple long-term preparedness researchers, has consistently found that properly stored Crisco in cool, dark conditions remains functionally stable well beyond that 2-year mark. The hydrogenation process that creates shortening produces a fat structure that is significantly more resistant to rancidity than liquid vegetable oils. But the real reason experienced preppers quietly buy Crisco at Walmart goes beyond cooking. Pure vegetable shortening is one of the most calorie-dense foods available in any grocery store, delivering approximately 110 calories per tablespoon from pure fat. In a genuine food scarcity situation, caloric density becomes critically important. Fat delivers more than twice the calories per gram compared to protein or carbohydrates. A single can of Crisco represents thousands of calories of shelf-stable energy. Beyond eating, shortening has documented emergency uses, including as fuel for makeshift oil candles, as a skin protectant in extreme cold, and as a lubricant for mechanical applications when conventional options are unavailable. Experienced preppers think in multiple use cases for every item they store. Crisco checks several boxes simultaneously. Number 10, rolled oats. In bulk, most people buy the standard cylindrical canister of Quaker oats from the cereal aisle without thinking about it. Experienced preppers buy the largest bulk bag of great value rolled oats they can find and then immediately repackage them at home. Here is why the repackaging step matters and why it changes everything about oat storage. The standard cardboard canister that oats come in is not an oxygen barrier. It is not a moisture barrier. It is cardboard with a thin wax coating. Oats stored in that canister are slowly being exposed to atmospheric oxygen and any ambient humidity in your kitchen, degrading nutritional content and accelerating the development of rancidity in the natural oils present in oats. Rolled oats transferred immediately into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and sealed properly will maintain near complete nutritional integrity for 30 years. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which operates America's most sophisticated institutional food storage program, opened 30-year-old oat reserves for independent testing in 2023. Nutritional retention was documented at over 90% across all measured vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients. 1 cup of properly stored rolled oats delivers 8 grams of fiber, 7 grams of complete protein, and essential B vitamins, including thiamine and folate. They also contain avenanthramides, antioxidant compounds found exclusively in oats, that 2024 cardiovascular research confirmed have direct anti-inflammatory effects on arterial tissue. USDA grain price projections released February 2026 anticipate minimum 15% increases in oat pricing through Q2. The bulk bags at Walmart right now represent some of the last stable pricing this year. Number 9, dried pasta in bulk. In 2023, Italian food historians authenticated and tested a sealed package of spaghetti from 1944. Wartime Italy, over 80 years in storage. They cooked it. The texture held correctly. The nutritional profile was measurably intact. The pasta performed exactly as fresh pasta would perform. 80 years. Completely functional. That historical demonstration illustrates the fundamental characteristic of properly dried pasta that makes it one of the most valuable long-term storage foods available. It is essentially a permanent food when stored correctly. The drying process reduces moisture content below 12%, which creates a biological environment where no contamination can establish itself.
As a business owner, you're busy. You don't have time for the rest. Having a dependable baker by your side that can respond quickly is essential to help keep you moving. Stellar Bank, helping our neighbors thrive.
At a time when we need fighters, Congressman Christian Menifee is proven. Look at his record.
He defeated MAGA Republicans in court, and now Christian Menifee is fighting MAGA in Washington.
Lysol disinfectant spray can prevent mold and mildew growth. Spray it every week to break the cycle.
Wow, I'm a hot mess.
Combine that with oxygen-free Mylar storage, and you have food that will genuinely outlast almost everything else in your pantry. Here is the economic reality hitting pasta pricing right now that most Walmart shoppers have not noticed yet. Durum wheat, the specific hard wheat variety that pasta requires, is primarily grown in Ukraine, Russia, Canada, and the American Great Plains. Ongoing geopolitical disruptions combined with new tariff structures on wheat imports are creating direct and measurable cost pressure throughout the pasta supply chain right now. Great value pasta at Walmart is still sitting at reasonable prices in most locations. But wholesale wheat costs have already transmitted partially to retail, and analysts project continued increases through spring 2026. The preppers buying bulk pasta right now and vacuum sealing it at home are locking in current pricing on a food that will remain useful for decades. Number 8, canned sardines. This is the protein item on this list that generates the most skepticism when I mention it. And that skepticism is based entirely on taste preference, not on the actual numbers. So let me give you the actual numbers. 1 can of great value sardines and olive oil at Walmart costs approximately $1.29. That single can delivers 23 grams of complete protein containing all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce independently. It delivers a full day's supply of vitamin B12. significant vitamin D, calcium from the soft edible bones, and the highest concentration of omega-3 fatty acids, available in any canned product at any price point. Compare that to canned chicken, which delivers similar protein at approximately $2.50 to $3 per can with no omega-3s, no B12, and no calcium. Sardines deliver dramatically superior nutrition at roughly half the cost, but the reason experienced preppers specifically prioritize sardines goes beyond the nutritional profile. The Alaska fisheries' 60% permit reduction announced in January 2026 is creating immediate pressure on all canned fish products. Canned salmon prices already jumped 30% in February. Canned tuna is under similar pressure. Breeze sardines, primarily sourced from Atlantic and Pacific fisheries operating under different regulatory frameworks, have not yet experienced the same price shock. That window will not remain open indefinitely. Experienced preppers recognize early windows in pricing and move before the general public notices. Sardine prices at Walmart right now represent one of those early windows. Number 7. Peanut butter powder. Regular peanut butter is a staple in almost every American pantry, but experienced preppers do not buy regular peanut butter for long-term storage. They buy peanut butter powder. And the reason comes down to one fundamental food science fact. Regular peanut butter, even natural varieties, contains significant amounts of peanut oil. That oil, despite the preservative effect of the salt and sugar in most commercial peanut butters, will eventually oxidize and go rancid. Commercially produced peanut butter typically maintains acceptable quality for 12 to 18 months. Beyond that, the oil degradation becomes noticeable in both taste and nutritional quality. Peanut butter powder is produced by pressing approximately 85% of the oil out of roasted peanuts and then spray drying the remaining solids into a fine powder. The removal of the majority of the oil content eliminates the primary mechanism of spoilage. The result is a product that delivers comparable protein content, approximately 8 grams per serving, with a shelf life of 4 to 5 years in an unopened container and dramatically longer when repackaged in Mylar with oxygen absorbers. Walmart carries p.2 brand peanut butter powder and occasionally their own Great Value version. Experienced preppers buy multiple containers consistently. Reconstituted with water, it performs identically to regular peanut butter in cooking applications. As a dry powder, it can be added directly to oatmeal, rice dishes, or emergency meal preparations without any liquid addition, making it more versatile than regular peanut butter in situations where water conservation matters. Number 6. Unscented bleach. Regular household unscented bleach. Specifically, the 8.25% sodium hypochlorite concentration that Walmart sells under their Great Value brand is one of the most versatile and undervalued emergency preparedness items available at any price point. Most people think of bleach exclusively as a laundry whitener or occasional bathroom cleaner. Experienced preppers think of it as a multifunction emergency tool with 3 distinct critical applications. First, water purification. The EPA's official emergency water treatment protocol calls for 8 drops of 8.25% unscented bleach per gallon of clear water or 16 drops per gallon of cloudy water, followed by 30 minutes of contact time. This produces water that meets safe drinking standards. This is not folk wisdom. This is documented EPA protocol available on their official website right now. Second, surface disinfection. A solution of 1 tablespoon of bleach per gallon of water creates a hospital-grade surface disinfectant that kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses on hard, non-porous surfaces according to CDC disinfection guidelines. Third, sanitation in the absence of functioning sewage infrastructure. Extended power outages or infrastructure disruptions can compromise municipal sewage systems. Bleach becomes a critical sanitation tool in those circumstances. The critical storage note: liquid bleach degrades, The active sodium hypochlorite content decreases approximately 20% per year from the manufacture date. Always check the date on the bottle and rotate your supply every 9 to 12 months. This is why experienced preppers buy it consistently rather than stockpiling years' worth at once. Number 5, Vaseline petroleum jelly. A large container of Vaseline at Walmart costs approximately $4. Experienced preppers buy multiple containers every single time they shop and almost never discuss it with anyone. Here is why petroleum jelly belongs on every serious preparedness list, and why most people have never considered it in this context. The documented emergency applications for pure petroleum jelly are more extensive than almost any other single product at Walmart. As a wound care product, petroleum jelly creates an occlusive barrier over wounds that prevents moisture loss, reduces scab formation, and, according to a landmark 2016 study published in JAMA Dermatology, produces faster healing outcomes than antibiotic ointments for minor lacerations and abrasions. Many dermatologists now recommend petroleum jelly over Neosporin for standard wound care. As a fire-starting aid, petroleum jelly saturated into cotton balls creates a waterproof fire starter that burns for approximately 4 minutes per cotton ball, providing reliable ignition even in wet conditions. This is a technique documented and taught in official wilderness survival training programs. As a moisture barrier in extreme cold, applied to exposed skin, it prevents windburn and significantly reduces frostbite risk by blocking wind and retaining body heat at the skin surface. As a mechanical lubricant, it prevents rust on metal tools, lubricates hinges and mechanisms, and protects leather equipment from cracking and degradation. Shelf life is essentially indefinite. Petroleum jelly is a mineral product that does not support biological growth and does not chemically degrade under normal storage conditions. This is one of the highest utility per dollar purchases on this entire list. Number 4, activated charcoal. This item requires the most careful explanation on this entire list because it has both legitimate documented emergency uses and significant limitations that anyone considering it needs to understand clearly. Activated charcoal, available in capsule form in Walmart's pharmacy section, works through a process called adsorption. The activated charcoal surface is extraordinarily porous at the microscopic level, creating a massive surface area that chemically binds to many toxic compounds and prevents their absorption through the gastrointestinal wall into the bloodstream. The American Association of Poison Control Centers documents activated charcoal as an established first response measure for certain types of poisoning and toxic ingestion when emergency medical care is not immediately accessible. It is used in hospital emergency departments worldwide as a standard intervention for specific overdose and poisoning scenarios. The critical limitation, and this must be stated clearly, activated charcoal is not effective for all toxic substances. It does not bind effectively to alcohols, metals, or corrosive substances. It is a first response measure that buys time while professional medical help is sought, not a replacement for emergency medical care. The reason experienced preppers include this in their Walmart purchases is simple. In extended emergency scenarios where access to emergency medical services is delayed or disrupted, having legitimate first response tools available matters. Activated charcoal represents a documented, clinically recognized option for a specific category of emergency that costs approximately $10 at Walmart and takes up almost no storage space.
Corpay is the world's most advanced corporate payments company. We launched the world's most flexible card program, giving businesses more control in every way they spend, from T&E to fleet to all AP spending. And we created the most innovative and secure ways for businesses to make international payments anywhere in the world. Keep business moving. Corpay.
Why aren't we counting anymore? Well, the all-new Sort of Perfect Sleeper has the Q4 support system that helps relieve aches and back pain.
Number 3. Hand crank flashlight batteries. Let me reframe how you think about batteries and flashlights for emergency preparedness, because the conventional approach that most people take is fundamentally flawed in a way that experienced preppers figured out years ago. Standard battery-powered flashlights have 2 failure points in an extended emergency. The batteries die and the bulb burns out. Batteries stored at room temperature lose approximately 20% of their charge per year, even when not in use. A pack of AA batteries sitting in your drawer right now is already partially depleted from the day you bought them. And in a genuine extended emergency, a week-long power outage, a natural disaster, or any infrastructure disruption lasting more than a few days, battery supply becomes a serious constraint very quickly. Hand crank flashlights eliminate both failure points simultaneously. They require no batteries. They require no external power source. A standard hand crank LED flashlight available at Walmart for approximately $15 to $25 generates electricity through a small internal generator powered by manual cranking. 1 minute of cranking typically produces 30 to 60 minutes of LED light output, depending on the model. LED bulbs in modern hand crank flashlights are rated for 50,000 to 100,000 hours of operation, effectively permanent for practical purposes. The internal rechargeable battery that stores the hand crank charge typically lasts 500 to 1,000 charge cycles before capacity begins degrading noticeably. Experienced preppers buy 1 for every room in their house and 1 for every vehicle. At $15 to $25 per year, this is one of the most cost-effective infrastructure investments on this list. Number 2. Iodized salt in bulk. I want to give salt the full explanation it deserves here because most people buy a single canister and think they are covered. They are not even close to covered. The United States Geological Survey classifies sodium chloride as geologically stable, meaning pure iodized salt does not degrade, does not expire, and does not change chemically over any storage time frame relevant to human planning. Archaeologists have recovered 4,500-year-old salt from Egyptian sites that was chemically identical to salt purchased yesterday. But here is the dimension of salt storage that most people have never considered and that experienced preppers think about carefully. Your body requires sodium for every neurological function it performs: nerve signal transmission, muscle contraction, fluid balance regulation, and cardiovascular function all depend on adequate sodium availability. In a genuine extended food scarcity scenario, lasting weeks rather than days, sodium becomes a survival critical nutrient in a way that most people have never had to think about. Beyond personal consumption, salt is the oldest food preservation technology in human history, predating refrigeration by thousands of years. 1 pound of salt can cure and preserve several pounds of meat, extending its safe edible life from days to months without any refrigeration requirement. This knowledge and this supply of salt give you a food preservation capability that requires zero electricity and zero modern infrastructure. A 50-pound bag of pure iodized salt at Walmart costs approximately $8 to $12. That quantity will last the average family multiple years of normal use. The cost per year of supply is genuinely lower than almost any other item on this entire list. Number 1. Great value distilled water in bulk. Every experienced prepper, every emergency management professional, and every survival instructor agrees on one thing without exception. Water is number 1. Always. Without qualification. And yet the vast majority of American households, the same FEMA survey that found 60% cannot sustain 3 days of food, have essentially zero emergency water storage beyond whatever happens to be in their pipes at the moment a crisis begins. Here is the biological reality that makes water the undisputed number 1 priority on every preparedness list ever written. The human body can survive approximately 3 weeks without food under normal conditions. The human body begins experiencing serious cognitive and physical impairment from dehydration within 24 hours, and approaches a life-threatening crisis within 72 hours without water intake. You will become incapacitated from thirst before you feel the first meaningful hunger pangs from food scarcity. Every other item on this list becomes irrelevant if you do not have water. FEMA's official recommendation is 1 gallon per person per day minimum, accounting for drinking and basic sanitation. For a family of 4, that is 28 gallons for a 1-week supply and 56 gallons for 2 weeks. Great Value distilled water at Walmart is available in 1 gallon jugs at approximately $1 to $1.25 per gallon. Distilled water, unlike spring water or filtered tap water, contains 0 dissolved minerals or contaminants, giving it an indefinite shelf life when stored in the original sealed container, away from direct sunlight and chemical vapors. Experienced preppers buy water every single Walmart trip without exception. Not sometimes, every time, because they understand that every other item on this list, the rice, the beans, the pasta, the oats, requires water to be useful. And the Pool Shock at number 14 that purifies 10,000 gallons is only useful if you have access to a water source to purify. Water is the foundation that every other preparedness decision is built on. The preppers who are not telling their neighbors what they are buying, this is what they are buying more of every single week. Let me save you time on your next Walmart run, because several of these items are not where most people would look for them. Potassium iodide tablets and activated charcoal are in the pharmacy section, not the supplement aisle. Pool Shock and Mylar bags are in the outdoor and garden center, seasonally available.
Alrighty. Hope that helps, y'all. I'm gonna be trying to help. Let's see what else they might want to say. Sorry about that. Beauty cards. Whoever's listening. Will it be in the video? It'll be there. Got to be there. Got to be there. Be there. When she says hello to me. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Whoever stayed, thank y'all. Let's see. What else we might want to be informed about? Y'all watch the GINNS. M-A-D. That's for GINNS. People going mad. People don't even know what the hell going on. And then you got secret lovers. They can be in love with you. What they call it, a spiritual spouse. Wow. Want to have sex with you. They can be in human form. So a lot of the stuff in Hollywood we're watching are GINNS taking over people's bodies. And the soul, trying to get their soul. Bad GINNS. Not all of them, okay? Some good GINNS out there that really help. Magician. I'm going to recognize that. The family, wow. Justice, okay. Yeah, so don't classify all of them as bad. The Arabs, they really help the Arab people who believe and respect them. You know what I'm saying? Just like any other spiritual or even yourself, you know, you want people to believe and respect you, especially if you're an honest person. But yeah. So let's see what else we got. We got the Magician reverse, evil sorcerer, that's Gemini, Virgo energy. The Magus. Okay. Poison, elixirs, potions. Not being protected. Selfish. Abusive. Abusing magic. Disrespecting magic. We're doing that all the time. Okay. Family. childhood memories or your family could have did use magic. I'm gonna show this other picture later on about more on that. Old hauntings, making hauntings in your house, lights flickering, seeing things, ordered by the universe, justice, getting justice. What is this? Court, lawyer, police, um, universal laws, heart way light as a feather, blue eyes, Frank Sinatra. Okay, what did that say? Blood, iron, fusion. Somebody might need iron. Oh, blood transfusion. Whoa. Mustache. The law. Ties to the law. Holding to you. Or relationship. Venus energy. Lucifer as well. Truth. The system. Court. Turning out good. Say good, bad, ugly though. Okay, let's see. So somebody might be in court using magic to sway, or I don't know. Speaking your case with conviction that past insults or injury, um, mad talk, and they're mad again. Okay. Resentful, unwilling to grant or allow. So I don't know if somebody's talking to the jinns or talking to an authority about allowing them or either using magic in court. You know, that's your thing. Lost pride. Took a bet, clean up, looking back, not satisfied, walking away. Let's see who's getting. Let's see. Manipulating. And manipulating universal laws or the laws or the system. Someone trying to make it work in their favor. Universal law. Okay, Scorpio energy, death reverse. Transformation is the other way. So getting something to not die or be in new beginnings because it's reverse or in a situation. So they want it ongoing. This could be near death experience as well. Be trying to do this to somebody or try to get a situation. They're trying to go over universal law in a situation or prevent a death or loss. As a loss chance. Okay, so you're walking away, you think it's a loss. So the magician did that. Use illusion or whatever. Libra, Scorpio. What do we have here? Because they said the jinns even, well, no, not the jinns. Another one I'm going to have y'all watch. They can break up couples, break up families, and we know they use it in government. We use that next, but this is Queen of Pentacles. Okay, right under the Magician. So we got a Queen of Pentacles. It's doing something. The Hermit, Virgo reverse. Out of Hermit mode. Letting it out, cats out the bag. Didn't heal. Not doing, definitely not doing dark night of soul. Refused to look at self. Box ruin. Okay. package or something, maybe delayed or something broken, or you have to pick it up somewhere else or something. Fear, out of fear. So somebody's desperately doing something, maybe trying to avoid a death. Look like karma's here with that justice. So, or this could be investment of money, spend a lot of money or business. Okay. Now the swords reversed. Okay, there's always animal protection. Animal protection. Animal protection. Okay, maybe it's about somebody's animal. I don't know. Okay. I was talking about the soldier and ancestor protection for one. Could have a black cat or cats. Don't have to be. It could be dogs. It don't matter. Undecided. Needed to take a step out of situation so you can see it clearly. I'm down, but I ain't out. Okay. Feeling like a victim or protected though. So maybe you don't know what's quite going on. You feel something, some BS going on or happened to you. Could be headaches, could be whatever. With that band-aid. Band-aid. That head wrap. Or maybe you need to wrap your head. Okay. Boots on. I put my boots on the ground. No family. Which is could be an ex, could be a not kin, in-laws, friends, frenemies, or whatever from old or new. Could be new. What is this? So you're this art offering, alchemist pictures. Something about you used to do or you do. Um, let's see. Competitive gossip or petty gossip, fighting, arguing around you, a lot of noise, conjuring, gun range, hunting, dancing, exercise, truths, half truths, gossiping, telling half truths. Everybody's got an opinion. I said that on the last video, right? Maybe about who you are, or same old thing, how you making money, how you getting business, universal laws, respect universal laws, we're talking about that. Old hauntings, old feelings of somebody in your family. Then we talked about court, peace, let me see. What is this? Weapons, five of swords, trickery. I don't know if somebody was caught with a weapon or somebody, I was talking about weapons with somebody trying to come in the house too. Nine of swords reverse. Waking up. So you woke, you didn't go to sleep. So somebody, okay. Maybe somebody, I was talking about somebody had, remember I told y'all, if whoever was listening from yesterday, Somebody, I had a vision. I was half asleep. Did a little sleep before I did the reading yesterday. This morning at 3 something in the morning. There was a plan of someone to come and attack you, hurt, kill you, whatever the deal was, for money or investment or Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and Virgo, stressing Virgo. Okay. Or it could be attack on Virgo. I don't know. Let's see. Whatever way it's going for you. Because everybody ain't bad. We know that, right? King of Pentacles. Okay, we had the couple yesterday. So either money being rioted, I bet. Okay. Giving people money, maybe to come at you still. Somebody don't want this to end. The Death card reversed. Queen of Pentacles. So her and the King of Pentacles. Let's see. We had Taurus yesterday. Ancestor or a husband or wife. Okay. Money, hermit. Okay, let's see. You woke. You know what's going on, or you just stayed up. Speaking truth. People are debating, arguing about this. Non-family members that don't know you, so maybe rushing in. Knight of Swords. Could be male. That's my Paul Revere. The British are coming. The British are coming. Speedy News. Police. Okay. It's also Judge in there with the Taurus. Page of Swords reverse. Need protection. Can't spy. Not secretly spying. Okay. Retrieved. Somebody might have had a device in your house. Wanted to cause some type of eruption or whatever to get it out, maybe. High Priestess. Police surveillance or okay, you know that they're watching you or still trying to cast spells. Okay, yeah, we established that. About money. About this money. Or about a death. Well, my case is getting the money together to bury my husband, having his funeral. Could be about that as well. Okay, truth. Pisces, Cancer. Okay, tarot reader, high priestess, whatever it may be. Man, I'm gonna get hot. Three of Wands, reverse. Closet. Luggage. Secrets or truth coming out of the closet. Not going to goals. Not letting my people go. It's my Moses card too. Also my actor card. What's going on? Turn that on. Let's go and ponder on this right quick. So a lot of people, this could be coming to the funeral, I don't know. Okay, discussing money situation. Okay, rushing in, or this jury in court, somebody on the stand, that could be that too, trying to understand the truth. Let's see. Luggage moving, skeletons out of the closet. Whoa, I knew it was coming sooner or later. Now this could be gins, this could be black people, this could be Capricorn energy, the devil, all that. Best protector of women and children, an agent, serial killer, vampire, Hades, Lucifer, trying to control, toxic, smart, and then also karma, dharma, and karma, good or bad. Okay, good, bad, the ugly. I said that. Fallen angels are gins. I got that on here. Demoted. Okay. Exposing someone. Everything coming, the truth coming out the closet. Some people find it gossiping on the truth. Okay, we still been on that. Hey Hector, how you doing? Um, Page of Swords reverse again. On the Page of Swords reverse. So why am not spying or secretly spying? Secret, okay. Oh, somebody got caught watching somebody. Chariot. Ooh, it flipped it to reverse. Couldn't get away. Car stalling or something. Did the cops catch somebody? Or money coming in the mail? Or about money? Or what this is? Maybe it's more than one thing going on. There's always more than one thing going on. Stalling. Couldn't watch. Caught in. Okay, maybe caught in start. Couldn't watch or couldn't come. Try to control the situation and got met by. I was talking about traffic yesterday. Or this morning. Or maybe going to work. Thinking somebody's messing with somebody. So they can't move. Could be on good favor. Okay, hangman. Hanging around. Okay, maybe somebody tried to spy on you or something. They was waiting on the right moment to do something, but it never came because you stayed up or whatever. You were up watching, doing whatever you do. And when they tried to leave, the car wouldn't start. They had to walk away. They had to catch the bus or something like that. Or this car crash. It says manipulator, initiate. What does it say? Inability to change, a sacrifice, manipulate, stalling. Okay, car stalling, self pity. The controls of the car, maybe. If you have a new car with electricity or something. I was gonna say Tesla yesterday, but I didn't say it. There's gonna be no fool, so can't get away. So something going down, but that's right on Justice card. Eight of Swords. Surgery. See now, so maybe out of jail, maybe. Don't want to go to jail. I don't know, somebody got stopped by the cops. Maybe a tag or lights or I don't know. And they found something, maybe. Couldn't hide it. Okay. Eight of Wands. Block five. Block. Now you in crazy love. Okay, we got the magic going on. We also got don't work. Didn't work. Stuck. Miss. Slow. Delays. No program. So somebody trying to control somebody. I guess it depends on you going to sleep. I was talking about a spiritual husband, a wife, or somebody physical. And you know, you think about it, like they say, you don't know who you kin to. That's why it's important to try to go as back forward and get your ancestors from the beginning to tell what your bloodline is. Because certain acts that people do, you know, could be kin to not as good and bad jinns, good and bad angels, good and bad everything. What side your bloodline was on, why you reacting the way you're reacting, being dominating. And they say ego is worse than anything, right? Oh, what are you saying, Hector? Correct the move? No, Hector. Yeah. King of Swords, King of Pentacles, two guys, two men of masculine energy. Ego, play the game better, long time thinking, don't play by the rules. Trying to get business off the ground, need an investor. Worried about business. Okay, so we had the king and the queen. We got the king of swords. Reverse. Abusive. So they, whatever's going down, secret society they may be in, or whatever the deal is, whatever they're dealing with, um, money is definitely a factor, right? For keep them moving, or pride, ego. Won't let it go, they won't let it die. Or a situation that won't die until it get resolved. Maybe somebody wish it would die. Boomerang effect or confused, balancing it out, infinity, feelings, storm, conjuring, money confusion, juggling two situations. 2 cents in the conversation, putting their 2 cents. So everybody's saying what they think or idea that should be done. Maybe at a mechanic and everybody saying what's wrong with it, charging you up. That could be that too. Okay. Temperatures rising. Could be water in the car also. Need water. Okay, that's a came out. The Wiz. Okay, refuse to follow protocol. Not balanced. No testing. Failed test. Wrong way. Reckless behavior. Wrong dark road. warning light, warning, something going on with a car and something about what they were doing. Somebody seen them or location, maybe they had a location device on them, or I don't trust these newer cars because they can turn it off. If say somebody hired them to kill you or something, and you stop in the middle of the highway or something. Oh, and then I'm seeing this. A lady was parked at the store, and somebody rammed into her. I think her car went in the building and killed her. She was parked at the fucking store. So I don't know if that was, yeah, because it says sacrifice right here. I figured that. So somebody was watching, following. Car wasn't moving. I seen that today, and it's on the board. It's on the table now. So that was a sacrifice. Needing the sacrifice because they couldn't get to their original person, or I don't know if somebody in that person's family or friend, um, maybe trying to send a message. Chariot, definitely. Cancer, Sagittarius. It's white, it's black. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yin yang. Uber driver, trucks, it don't matter. Airplane, train, wagon, whatever. 18-wheeler, Ace of Pentacles. I paid for it. Good news. Access granted. Or somebody went to a car dealership, trading a car, getting you a new car. Okay, so I'm getting another thing too. The old car was in an accident. Um, or deliberately hurting someone. Maybe there was blood on it or whatever the deal was. So in order for them not to get caught, they changed cars, got another car, or jumped out of one car and somebody was waiting on them and they jumped in another. I don't know how they went. It's definitely a setup. Two of Swords reverse, hitting two birds with one stone. So they wanted to take two people out. I see. Not telling you can fight. Okay, they were supposed to get two jobs, but one person, they couldn't go and do what they wanted to do to them because they would work when they were aware. Okay, they didn't know when to make a move with that person, but the other person was sitting duck. They got a chance to do that. Whatever. To us for somebody didn't see that coming. They felt something. They says use your intuition. Queen of Swords. Okay, so the Queen of Swords felt something. Boundaries, honesty, clear judgment, wisdom, relying on you. Okay, so crossroads, right on top of the devil, the gins. So they were warned, ancestors, guides. Three of Wands reversed, out of the closet. So, yeah, that could be, closets usually, um, either they moved around, distant time, um, they know the skeleton, they know what's gonna happen. Foresight, secrets of the dark, yeah. Like I said, the ancestors told them what to do. Stagnation, out of the closet, not to one of those ships are here. Turn around. Turn around. So it warns somebody not to go that way. So it says they'll lie. Three of Swords reverse. So yeah. Somebody not broken hearted. Guarding your heart. Black heart. Laser surgery, heart transplant. So somebody's messing with somebody's heart, trying to make them have a heart attack, maybe while they're driving or whatever the deal is. Got a lot of magic on this board. And poison also. Forgive. Jobless operation, hardened shots. The actual shots. No revenge. Said no revenge. I got no revenge. It says failed. Somebody trying to get revenge. King of Cups, King of Cups. Now that's supposed to be a loving, could be a couple as well, could be same sex. Let's see. Five of Swords reverse. Okay. Got moving forward. Challenge. I don't know if somebody was road racing late at night or something like that. That could be in there too. Revenge, a warning, and violence. Violence, revenge, and a warning. Yes. End of conflict. So ego is in the play. Want to be the best or better. Who can be the best or better? Who can get, oh my goodness. Like I said, it might have been a road rage thing or whatever. It could have been who can kill a person first. I mean, it made it a little bit. They got some little weights going on. It could be about sports as well. Um, can I take them out? Okay, we both started this time. Let's see who wins. I don't know, something like that. So that one person celebrating because he did it. I don't know if it's initiation into a gang or what the hell. Wheel of Fortune going in your favor. So something went in the other person's favor. Could be the King of Cups. A time fixed. Going back to the car. Maybe the car stalled or whatever. I don't know. Page of Pentacles reverse. Okay, didn't study. But somebody just randomly did something. Graduate, no offers. Trying to grow up, start acting like children. A selfie. Taking pictures. I was talking about New York and Grand Central Station. They was talking about, and they said, shit, it ain't fun at all. People not paying rent. They supposed to declare a rent freeze because so many, I think it was 40,000 people that were homeless that didn't want to pay rent no more, but then the rent went too high. Yeah, they getting ridiculous. What is this card over here? Don't be no fool on top of fool reverse. So that's trying to get away as well. Fugitive or being free on another journey. Fugitive. Somebody watching The Fugitive. I love that. Harrison Ford. That's my movie there. Four of Pentacles reverse. Release control. Not saving also. Shares. Spend some shares. Maybe take that money out the bank. This is my elite air royalties. Upper class reverse. Moving forward. So I took their money. Are we chasing somebody took your money? Portal, wormhole, not materialistic. Okay. Three of Cups. Page of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune. Tires, somebody getting tires on their car or something. Strip clubs, or had a flat tire maybe. Dancing, men and women, strip club. Okay, somebody got caught at a strip club. Maybe they partner had surveillance cameras or something, or cheaters. Something. Leaving, not parking at home. So trying to be discreet of where they parked, and maybe somebody broke in their car, or they had to get a tow truck to come and get it or something. Got caught anyway. I don't know. Not loving it. Unmarried. So if they're unmarried, they ought to be able to do what they are saying they're unmarried. Maybe took their ring off or some politician or some type of man with money. Page of Pentacles, student again, college. Early stages, young, French, hobby, effort, focus, new fresh start. Okay, they met somebody young. Maybe they're like, I'm in love with a stripper. Gave her some money, maybe she go to school for education or something like that. Is it close to graduation time? I don't know. Wheel of Fortune, so it went in that person's favor. Challenge, satellite, change. Ancient Ones. Father. Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, fixed. CERN. A fucus on here with a snake. Piece of the pie. Pizza. Satellite or whatever, leaving space station. Time. Just in time. Maybe. Going to graduation or something. Made it just in time. I'm often looking at ops. So researching. Time. Researching. How to not celebrate. Also, freedom, witches, concubines. Oh, searching about witch history. I'm doing that. Need only one loss, an affair. So somebody either got caught with somebody young, strip club, whatever the deal is, pass the time as we lay. Maybe they was laying around. Thought about tomorrow as we lay. Woo-hoo. Hey. 10 of Cups reverse, not happy. Family not happy. Broke up a happy home. Okay, Queen of Wands. That's always sad. Don't know how to control them. Lust. Get them parasites out. Get them parasites out. King of Wands. Freedom. Okay, so maybe the wife or whoever is tired of the bullshit. rebellious, so King of Wands and Queen of Wands, yeah. So I want a divorce. So Seven of Pentacles separated. Yeah, splitting money or something about the money, spending too much money, um, helping somebody else, messing around. So doing the job or whatever so they can pay their young sweetie. Uh, taking various jobs or something. Somebody put a freeze on somebody's credit card. Oh, made me think about Rihanna. Um, what's his name? They say Rocky was flirting with that lady from Jamaica or somewhere too much, and she reminded him that she hold the card, she hold the money. And I was listening to a woman to woman. If you ever been in love, may I speak to Barbara? I told Barbara that's her man. See that car he drive? I bought it. From the bottom of his head to the top of his feet. And every piece of food he eat, I buy it. Okay. Go ahead on, sister. So Barbara called back and said, I'm a young thing and I can't do what you do to take care of him like that. And I ain't finna do that. I just give him loving when he need it. And the money that you give him, he come and bring it to me. So there was some petty shit going on. And then to me, I'm like, okay, so if she put his ass out, Barbara, you take him in. He don't want to work, okay? Evidently a womanizer. So you gonna take care of him now, young or not? If she put him out, okay, and the money that you know for a fact that he's been taking her money that love him and give to you behind her back, or that Carter B situation of Tay Diggs fucking everybody around her. Some people just for the streets. You can't even trip on that. Don't even be embarrassed. They're just trying to break you. Fuck it. That don't mean your pussy wasn't good enough. The motherfucker have too many parasites in the system. And then he probably part of our organizations to make women feel, fucked up, just like they got the women organization to make them fucked up. And we don't know his bloodline, just a young guy. He's way younger anyway. He don't know what the fuck he doing. He gonna end up ruining himself. But anyway, so when she put him out, where the money gonna come from? We got this idea he could be, if baby he caught you at the strip club, so now the money he putting that on you at the strip club, since he didn't got caught using his wife money, she put him out. You ain't gonna get that money no more. So somebody's trying to do some crooked shit to keep that money flowing. If that's what you want, maybe you told him, I don't care where you get it from. I don't know. Hey, got some cold women out there. Baby, I can't take care of you. I don't know where you get the money from, but I need that same energy you was doing at first. You spoiled me, so I expect that same money back. I don't know, some shit going on. Shit, I don't know. Okay, strength. Weak. Yeah, people definitely being weak. High priestess. Or Pisces Cancer energy. Domination. Be a baby crying. Doing what you want or will. Be a Pisces said that, I don't know. Move slowly, practice, weak, hold, fighting the illness. Gentle, careful with me, gentle pressure. So somebody talking shit, or either fucking around, or could be like some I was told sometime. They have one child. I just gave my baby some money. You asked for some money, I shouldn't have to ask. Every time is an excuse. I just bought my child, blah blah blah. But we don't have no more future together. Cause if you can't do for me and that child, then what we doing? You know what I'm saying? What we doing? That's how I see it. And shit, you can't get no more. You can't get no more. It's time to go. Shit. What? Met two guys like that. One was a Sagittarius, and one was a Leo. Now the Leo would bring me some, go buy me some food, but the other one, like, make excuses. He shared different things, you know, with me and stuff. But every time I needed some money or something, like I let him borrow 25. He was in a court case and didn't talk shit before he paid me my money back. I really don't remember he paid my money back. I really don't remember that. We was hanging out the first time, he buying the drinks, buying the food. So, blah, blah, blah. I don't mind sharing. But then he started talking shit. And then I had to cut him loose. But yeah, the hangman reverse. Oh, because a lot of women were taking care of him because he looked good. He was like, I want to show you off. So they were showing him off. How to act in public, and the looks helped. At least the looks helped. He played the part. Okay. So they want big women all over, now living in the state vicinity, use them on their arm candy, right? So here I come, none of that. They women with money. So I guess he was trying to boastfully tell me, I'm worth, blah blah blah. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but he got the wrong motherfucker. Handsome as shit though, I give him that, but he had no purpose for me. He couldn't check things on my list what I needed at that time. Um, you know, and the sex was okay, but yeah. Even if it was great or good, if it still wasn't on the checks on my list or in my favor, then what is it? We got bullies, okay? High priestess got bullies. Are you a bully? It's Pisces again, Cancer, divination, rituals, prophecy, wisdom, get an offer out, operation went wrong or fixed, or ghosting, operation. Okay, so somebody's being pressured to do something. Gotta be careful when you join them damn things. And then it said that it's a way to get out of that. That's why I keep researching. I'm trying to help y'all. Okay. Who done sold they sold and all that kind of shit. Okay. Now the gens, one of the gens, requires that. Let me see. And it's a way to, because he wants souls. Are you messing with a gen? Some gens, one or two. You don't know who your partner is. Dirty and secrets, travel with the angels, heaven, blah blah blah. Demons, find blah blah blah. Deliverers, blah blah blah. Sweet judgment, agents, worship, respect, sovereign Queen Shiva. Hollywood, yeah, Hollywood and the soul thing. Okay. Only the knowledge words could stop them in the going about free yourself from the evil ones. Possess evil acts, fall to the gents for help. Prayer go. Shield entering your home. Others speak protection spell. Protection spell over your home, over yourself, over your kids. Quran, the last book page in the Quran book, they say was protection against the evil jinns, because all of them are not evil. I thought I wrote it down. About the soul. Let me see. Let me go back. Yeah, that's why we gotta be careful what families we get in, because they could be the bloodline of whoever crooked. You know what I'm saying? Just as well as we in bloodlines of good people. You know, good entities, gods, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, for different reasons. Power seer, not pleasing to God. And it could be God's protection while you have not married that person, but if you have kids with them, but think of it like that. If you've been with somebody I have not got married yet, that could be a protection, because you could be entering really with the kids, one another to left, but just it's hard to find that out, but your ancestors will tell you. Gins, libations, okay, I got the libations, great. So dog, okay, ego, dangerous, below respect, bad moves, disrespect, damn, I know I wrote that down. You may have Jinn bloodline. Jinn stole his ring, okay. Master deal with temple. I could have swore I wrote that down. Shit, that's important. Half human, half Jinn. Left for protection offerings in dark places started where trusting, don't disrespect them. Sickness, madness. Mad comes from the Jinn word. Often snakes, scorpions. Wives, honest to help you, also help you. Okay. You can call another Jinn to help you as well. Get out of that. That's one way. Um, the Quran shows how to protect yourself, but they believe in the jinns. So whatever you believe in gets stronger. Start talking to the jinns. I want the good one. I wouldn't promise them anything. I just, we all a family. You know what I'm saying? And I thank them for being in my family. Guardians of secret travel fast. He could not angels in heaven could hear secrets. Intelligent creature. But I think calling on another jinn to help you um, keep your soul or take it back, or whatever's going on. They protect us as well. So I mean, don't worship them. Just ask them for help. To as we call it. So I don't know if somebody used one of these evil jinns for whatever you want to come against somebody. And now, since you can't deliver, or they can't deliver, whatever the deal is, which female jinn seductive beautiful women get married and kill them? Cats, children were harvest. Damn, I thought I wrote that down. I gotta go back and look at that. But it was talking how to, it was saying about Pacific jinn that's in the, like, eating human flesh. Got them, you got those that want the souls, they keep messing with the person, sending things at them, whatever. So I know, probably got something coming at me, whatever. But those two things talk for calling another jinn to protect you. Go study the Quran. I think they say the last page of Quran shows you how to protect yourself against them. You know, stuff like that. If you're stuck in that type of world and you don't want to get out, you want to get out. So being bullied, okay, you have to open your mind. Some people don't want to go to the next level. This shit, like they say, we always been physical and spiritual have always been connected. You know, when you go to sleep, you go to the spiritual world. Shit, sometimes you daydreaming or something. Okay, anyway. Sorry I couldn't find that. Yeah, that was the spiritual world. Say it is. Okay. Dream, spiritual, peace. Yeah. Somebody want peace. Okay. This bullying. Causing all kind of delusions, illusions, howling, suffering, shape-shifting, making you do things full on half, secret, sleep, change, can't sleep. Okay, definitely being haunted and fuck with. Secret lovers, deception, uncertain. Okay, a lot of fear. Good, listen, admit the truth to you. That's number one. Inner feelings, face your fears. Not don't want to be exposed, a mystery. So they know that, and as long as you keep that in, and keep the fear going, they gonna fuck with you. Queen of Wands. Okay. Just be an open motherfucking book. Knight of Cups. Page 5. Mm. The devil. Out of control. Mess. Yeah. Hangman. Mm. Nine of Swords. Not crying, scared, rebuke. Fought back. Took care of, break in. That break in. True work. Looking up, moving on. Two of Cups. Ego clashes alone. What is that? Miscommunication, no partner, no premarital, no commitment, unhealthy, broken promises, two faces, um, issues apart, spill, waste. Sometimes you gotta realize that maybe that motherfucker shouldn't be in my life. You know what I mean? Yeah, that part. So that's my suggestion. Um, Still needing sacrifice, still being bullied. Somebody fighting back or want to fight back. Want to fight back, you got to dig deep. Like I said when I first got on the video, I said when I first got on YouTube, I just wanted to find it out, what the fuck going on, and I'm sharing with y'all what I things that I found out. Now y'all take that how y'all take it. Um, Still always a money issue. You can't be making everything a money issue, but if you did, figure out how to handle it. And you're gonna need higher powers in yourself. Till you find out who you are and your circle you're around. Are they for you or against you? Just torturing your life because they want to. They just want to. They don't like you. They just want to fuck with you. You know. I've seen ISIS. Time for a new start. Boom. Block them out. Finding money. Different places. Even giving some. I say. I had that. Wasn't yesterday or this morning. Dad is dangerous. His eyes don't look the same. I have a gin inside him. They reported your channel jealous. Child care. Fake image. Their friends working with them to kill y'all. They jealous of y'all. Like it could be them partnerships. Vitamins, potassium, and cyanide mixed together. Now that's a poison. Your brother Scorpio. Knives and bombs. Stolen guns are sold to underground or foreigners. Sold to the underground or foreigners or sold. S-O-L-D. No, soul. That's yeah. SOUL. Stay strong. Snowstorm or storm coming. Whether or evil people. How you doing? How you doing? Papa Legba sister. Iruzuli, family of spirits, work alongside Papa Legba. Izuli Frida, Dantor, Elasharem, embodying female aspects of love, beauty, and water, motherhood. Loa Voodoo, Izuli, romance and luxury, LWA, Lawa, family, protect children and women. Okay, Colleen. Okay, I'm sorry, Orisha. What about her? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, all of y'all, Jens as well as Orishas, all family. So she done call on them. Other powerful goddesses, Ida, We do, WEDDO, Rainbow Spirit, Mambo, Priestess, Serpent, Water Fertility, and Consort, a related figure to Dambola, the brother, Papa Lego's brother. Mamba, female priestess, a priest of voodoo, conduits for the spirits, often channeling Iruzuli, a powerful goddess. Azuli Frida, love, health, beauty, passion, prosperity, perfumes, jewelry, flowers, the Black Madonna. Hello. Chelstic, OCHOWA. Okay. Yeah, call them ancestors in. Jealous of your family. AF, some kind of car. A Romeo vehicle. Something. Yeah, call them all in. Look, I got this fucked up shit. Got these fucked up motherfuckers around me. This ain't how I want to be. You know, feel it from the heart. Now, it's up to you. Hiding in the 18-wheeler. Set the bond at a high price the rich can't afford. That's got to do with trafficking. I just feel it. They're going way more and more down that damn rabbit hole with some bullshit. And getting yourself more and more into some bullshit. You need to get the fuck on. Protection round. It can't be physical. It's got to be spiritual. Maintenance men and women. Mm-hmm. Really. Headache or stroke or heartache. Black magic or a needle. False business. Somebody bullshitting. She's a cheater, will bring you down and stay as long as the money stay a handler. I don't care. Used to give, used to give a fuck, but you showed me your ass. Now I don't. Time to grow up. They love drama. Yeah, I keep that shit over there. Um, Go to movies, enjoy yourself, live again. It's never too late. And then it was like too late. Laser beam, strange weapons, this war and shit. They stay too high to believe them or drunk. Want to put a spell on you so you can attach someone, so you can attack someone or get a mental illness or put a spell, make them think they're crazy. That's madness. They got to do with the genes. Just go through each culture and you'll find some things. Bitch, stop hacking my phone. Identity there. Keep it to yourself. Present. Get in a new house or home. How you know I'm not setting you up when you think you're setting me up? Hello. Your past of the you're part of the crime scene or saw something, manipulated the whole thing, or you manipulated the whole thing. So you gotta figure out which side you're on. I don't know. Okay. Um, Daughter, son, fuck mother's man. On purpose. Secret to hurt you. You work for the creators. Released on bond. Okay. Don't worry. Be happy. Go on. Keep being happy. Hello. Community service. Keeping your sentencing. Got off easy. Spell or drug to lose your memory. Alright. Well, that's what I got, y'all. Keep researching. Alright. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Love y'all. Thanks for coming. Appreciate y'all.